Hi folks, how you doing? Time to take a look at Chapter 1 from ACC 4170. So Chapter 1, Introduction to Tax. Okay, nothing too terribly complicated here, but got to get started, got to figure out what this is all about. Okay, so here we go. All right, so first thing, what are we going to look at in this chapter? First of all, how to demonstrate how taxes influence basic business decisions, investment, personal, and political decisions. So frankly, I'm guessing you probably at least have a sense of it by now. Taxes are everywhere, and they impact most everything we do. So they're important for everybody. Okay. The next thing is, what constitutes a tax? What is a tax? And what's the general objective of tax? What are they doing? What are they supposed to be doing with that tax money? Why pay tax? What are taxes all about? Okay. Next, we're going to take a look at different tax rate structures and how to calculate a tax. Okay. So how much money you owe. A little bit about different types of tax. There's federal, there's state and local taxes, so we're going to talk about those. A little bit about the criteria to evaluate tax systems, right? Crap systems? I say crap systems? Anyway, tax systems. Okay, so what are taxes all about? What makes you do them a certain way? Why do they do them the way they do them? Okay? All right, so first thing, who cares about tax? So so you guys are business majors, accounting majors if you're in this class. You better understand tax, right? And if you're an accounting major, for sure. So for businesses, right? Particularly for businesses, right? What organizational form should a business use? Okay. By the way, that has a lot to do with how you're taxed. Where should the business locate? Taxes are different, different parts of the country, different countries. Okay. How should business acquisitions be structured? Is there a way to do them favorably from a tax perspective, right? Especially, if you're talking really big ones, right? How should businesses compensate employees, right? There's actually, when it comes to stock and all that kind of thing, there's a number of different things that businesses have to take into account. It impacts their taxes, okay? What's the appropriate mix of debt and equity? I would think you probably know this by now, but debt, if you're borrowing money, interest is tax deductible. There's a limit to it, but it's tax deductible. But equity is not. Equity, dividends, paying dividends is not tax deductible. Next thing, should a business rent or own its equipment and its property, right? What are the tax advantages or disadvantages? Sometimes renting is better, sometimes buying. Second, how should business distribute profits to its owner? A lot of different things there we could talk about later on, okay? So anyway, how much tax a company pays, it's a big role in business, right? And so what they do, they come to CPAs, accountants, accounting graduates, to get us to help them to decide what to do, okay? Now, politicians, okay? Who cares about taxes? Well, politicians say they do, okay? So politicians distinguish themselves from their opponents based on tax rhetoric. It means what they yap about, okay? The problem is, without having basic knowledge of taxes, it's impossible to evaluate what they say. The problem is people hear it, but they don't really know what it means, okay? So you need to understand who to vote, but understand tax, part of who to vote for. So for example, tariffs on China. Let me just give you an example. All right. As an example, tariffs on China. So tariffs come and go from time to time, but understand tariff in general is a tax on the incoming country. And the reason why is because if it costs another country more money to put their products here, that is normally wound up on the laps of who's ever buying the product. Okay? So when you go and put huge taxes on Chinese products, no, they're not going to send them there. But for the people that do buy them, like the ones that send it to the United States, but ones that do buy them, that tax is generally passed through to the buyer. Okay? Not 100% of it, but the vast majority of it, 80, 90%. Okay? Also, another thing to consider is, well, if you tax their stuff really heavy, maybe they're going to tax your stuff really heavy. Okay? So there's a lot of things to understand, and the notion of that by putting tariffs on them, we're going to get a lot of money from them, just truly doesn't work, okay? All right, next one, what about individuals? Okay, how about individuals? Would you like to own a home? Okay, so tax deduction for mortgage interest and real estate taxes, right? By the way, this has changed a bit since 2017 when they did the Tax Cut and Job Act. They changed a lot of rules to where it's not quite as effective as it used to be, right? Between that and lower interest rates for quite some time. They're going back up now, but it made it not quite such a big deal as it was before, okay? How about want to retire one day, right? Understanding tax advantage methods of saving. Time value of money, I'm sure you've seen that in some of your other classes. Roth IRA, etc. And by the way, knowing what to do, how to do it, how to save for your retirement, it's all big things. And taxes are involved in all of it. Are you paying taxes now? Are you going to pay tax later? What rate are you going to pay? Depends upon the different tax structures at the time. Sometimes it's pretty hard to guess, right? So everybody should care about taxes, okay? Now the next thing is what qualifies as a tax? Because the government collects a lot of different money. Some are fees and some are tax, okay? And the way that you can tell the difference, okay? What you need to know is if it's direct, it is a fee, okay? So if somebody gets a direct benefit, it's a fee, okay? So let's talk about what's a tax. It's a payment required by government, okay, required by government that is unrelated to a specific benefit or service, okay, received from the government, okay? So what that means is it's not tied directly to a specific benefit. It's general. So key components, a payment is required, got to be money, imposed by the government, some sort of government agency, could be federal or state, and it's not directly tied to the benefit received by the taxpayer. So for example, your water bill, that's not a tax. Why? You get water, okay, from the government. Your trash bill, it's not a tax. Why? Because you get trash service. Now, real estate taxes and things like that, those would be a tax. And they would be a tax because they're not you don't get a particular benefit. The idea is you, not does the world benefit, does the state benefit, does anybody benefit? The answer is yes, but do you benefit, okay? So here's some. Payment for a driver's license, is that a tax? Not a tax. Why? Because you get to drive. You benefit directly. Okay, you get something directly. How about payment required for payment for required by government house appraisal? Appraisal, is that a tax? Nope, not a tax. Why? You get the appraisal. Okay. How about this one? Payment for hotel use of 1% of the bill to stay in city projects. Okay. That's a tax. Why? You don't get anything special. The city gets something special, but you ain't getting nothing special out of it. So when they have that hotel tax, that is a tax. You know, it's not a fee, it's tax. Okay. And then payment for rental car use of 3% of the bill to pay for roads, not specific, so it's a tax. So the bottom line is if you personally receive something for yourself, it's not a tax. If you receive something that helps or it helps the general population, the area, whatever, right, then it's a tax. Okay. All right, so here you go. Question number 1. By the way, for you online folks, you need to write these down. Okay. For you online folks, you need to write these down because there's going to be a quiz that's going to be in Canvas. Okay. And by the way, you're not going to be able to see the question. Okay. So this question here, which of the following is considered a tax? You will not see that question. You will only answer A, B, C, D, or E. Okay. All right. For those of you that are in class, if you happen to be watching this, you'll be doing it a bit differently. You'll be doing a quiz in Connect. Okay, so if you're online, it'll be on Canvas. You will not see the question. And if you want to know why you're not going to see the question, that's how I can make you watch the video, because that's what you're supposed to be doing. Okay? All right, next one. How to calculate a tax. So in other words, so now we got, okay, how do we calculate a tax? And actually, we're coming right up on 10 minutes. So I'm going to stop it right here. We'll be back with part 2 in just a minute.